It's been a long time, but I remember it well. Just like the photo we keep on the shelf. Oh, we were young. Oh, we were young.
Brooke, how are you doing this morning? And congratulations on such a dynamic weekend at Mar-a-Lago. Too many viral moments to count, although we do have some of them loaded up.
Well, I'm just sorry that Benny Johnson wasn't there. Who missed that invitation? And that will not happen again. But listen, it was an epic celebration when we decided to, basically grab those dates 14 months ago. I knew it was either going to be the saddest party of all time or the most epic party of all time. But even I could not have imagined how epic it actually was. It was amazing. The euphoria of the win and of the effort to save the country sort of culminated this past week. So it was amazing. But we missed you, Benny.
I would say there are so many moments to choose from, but from the start, Donald Trump and Elon Musk on stage with an opera singer singing "God Bless America." We got it up right here. It is. Everyone's seen the clip. Elon Musk, very musical here. And did you plan on this? Did this happen naturally?
It kind of all just happened. And it's funny. We were at Mar-a-Lago on the South Lawn in the president's backyard. This was the night before the gala. So you saw a lot of the viral moments with Sylvester Stallone and Javier Milei doing the YMCA dance. But this was the night before, and it was a beautiful night. The president obviously is extremely busy setting up his new government, getting ready to take the country back. But Christopher Macchio, the incredible opera singer from New York, is one of the president's very favorite. And we knew that it probably would draw him to the South Lawn. And he was so excited to be there, really wanted to address the crowd. And to your point, Benny, and what you said in the opening, listen, it's time to fight for America. Unlike any time we fought, except perhaps 1776, this is our moment, and we're meeting the moment. And I also say, I think we're living in the middle of a miracle. So I know a lot to unpack there, but it was awesome.
So yeah, I mean, in the middle of a miracle, in the middle of the champion's story, did Sylvester Stallone just come up to you and say, "Brooke, I want to call Donald Trump the next George Washington"? How does this come about?
Oh, well, to be first heard here, Benny, no one's asked me that yet in all the media I've done since then. So I'm going to give you the inside scoop on the Benny Johnson show. Well, first of all, I'm probably quite a bit older than you, Benny, but I will say that how iconic is Rocky Balboa, just the character, and Sly Stallone and his story of everyone turning him down, and him making that movie basically when no one said that it could be made. Then the story, right, of coming from nothing and doesn't matter how hard you get hit, right? It's how you come back. And I just thought it was such an iconic sort of metaphor for Donald Trump. So when I heard that Sylvester Stallone may want to come and that he was a new resident of Florida and didn't live too far from Mar-a-Lago, called some mutual friends and made it happen. And then I thought, the president actually much prefers, and I worked for him for 3 years in the last White House, had been building America First policy the last 4 years, even in the dark days of January 2021, when he wasn't getting as many calls as he is now, been by his side. But I called the president and I said, normally he likes the voice of God, right? And the God bless the USA. He doesn't like big, long introductions. He doesn't want to stand in the back of the room and listen to someone, go on and on about how wonderful he is. But I called him and I said, okay, this may be a little out of the box, but if Mr. Stallone is willing to introduce you at the gala, what do you think about that? And I said, the Rocky Balboa, and the president, without hesitating, said, I love it. I love it. So then Sly shows up with his amazing wife, Jennifer, and we have an incredible talk. We got word that we would love for him to potentially get up on stage with us. But with, again, President Trump, you never know. You've got about 50 different scenarios that could play out in any kind of a program with him. And again, I've been at this a long time with him. And so as we were walking in and Sly and I were chatting, I said, now just confirming, that you're still good to jump up on stage. And we talked about, well, how long should it be and what potentially should he say? I said, just speak from the heart. I mean, this man literally has some kind of a special calling on his life. Talk about meeting in the middle of a miracle, which is right now on multiple fronts. And it'll be iconic. And I know, and I said, listen, I know that there's going to be pushback from your world. And he said, Brooke, I am here to save America, and I'm just so impressed. Now, did I think he was going to get up and compare President Trump or call him the second George Washington? No, that surprised me, but it was awesome, and I think so well deserved, and it was a really special moment.
So Sylvester Stallone had no reticence at all, no pushback. I mean, he has a couple of hit series right now. Tulsa King is one of the top streaming shows in the world, and he didn't hesitate at all to hop up on stage and call Donald Trump the next George Washington. He was like, I'm doing it.
He said, I am in. And he was I'd never met him before. He was so nice. And I think, I don't want to put words, my hypothetical is this. He has reached every pinnacle of success. And there are others like him. John Voight was in the audience too, by the way, and some other great culture leaders. But at some point, you just don't worry about the noise, right? At some point, you have a country that is literally sliding into communist oblivion. Yeah. And if you're not willing to stand up now, when are you ever going to stand up? And so I was so encouraged for a lot of reasons. First, because I think Rocky is probably my favorite movie of all time. I just love it. And it's so, growing up in small town Texas, we didn't have a lot, but we had Rocky Balboa. And so that was the first thing. The second thing is, I sincerely believe this to be true, that while Sylvester Stallone may be one of the few of the AAA list in Hollywood who's willing to stand up, I believe there are dozens, if not hundreds more, standing behind him, waiting for the permission to do so. And this is true in the Black community, the Hispanic community. I mean, all these key communities that are now coming together and finding those legends, those warriors, those lions who are willing to stand up no matter the consequence for America, just like our founders. That now begins the build of bringing those cultural leaders together and creating something that I believe is unstoppable. So I was so excited for a lot of reasons that he was there and willing to stand up.
So it's first off, I'm really glad that Rocky wasn't boxing Jake Paul this weekend.
Good, it's a solid point.
Yeah, so much better place, frankly, for Sylvester Stallone to be. This made, of course, an enormous amount of news. However, I would argue that it's not the most important news that you made at Mar-a-Lago this week. That the most important news that was made at Mar-a-Lago this week is this very short 7-second clip right here. This is profound. If you're talking about making something unstoppable, here it is. It comes from you and your emceeing at the mic. Let's go.
Is the George Soros
I got you.
of the right? Where do we find a who will never give up on the great promise of America? And in walks Elon Musk. So God bless you, Elon, and we're so grateful.
So you made a lot. I mean, listen. Rocky got some headlines, but I would argue this is the most important news. You calling Elon Musk the George Soros of the right and him smiling and smirking and raising his hand proudly. Yeah. I think people don't quite understand this. George Soros, he's a big-time boogeyman here on the right. He couldn't pay a single day of Elon Musk's tax bills.
No.
And so you're not even talking the same league here, right? When it comes to Elon Musk, and certainly Elon Musk builds things, whereas George Soros is parasitic in his business practices. So Elon Musk has a much brighter future, and so for you to frame it like that was really powerful, Brooks. Can you talk? Did you plan on saying that? Did you cover? Did you ask Elon's permission?
I did not. And it's funny because up on the stage, and I know you know this, Benny, the lights are so bright, you can't see anyone. So I didn't even know his reaction until I saw it later when it went viral, that not only did he smile or nod, he jumped out of his seat, raised his hand as high as it would go, and basically said, I'm all in. And Benny, I think really well, I have for years tried to understand how the Democrats and the left outspend us 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 10-1. How is this possible? I mean, why on our side aren't our billionaires standing up? And instead of writing $50,000, $100,000 checks, we've got the entire free market, capitalistic, founding father, self-government system at stake. And yet there are a few people that will, right? We know the giants, but there are hundreds behind them that are conservative, that support the Republicans, that just won't lean in a way that Soros and Zuckerberg are leaning in. And part of that, I've said the movement should take some blame for. I think we have been not great at laying out the 50-year and 100-year vision. Our side tends to think of election to election to election. So as an investor, maybe you don't want to spend 10 million, 50 million, 100 million because you don't see the long-term ROI. And that was one of the things I was trying to solve for with America First policy 4 years ago, was building that 100-year plan, giving these investors the vision where they could really lean in and go big. But I've been watching Elon. Now, I will note that last week at Mar-a-Lago was the first time we'd actually met and spent any time together. But he's a new citizen of my state. He moved to Texas and moved all of his stuff to Texas. He's building Tesla factories. He's building rocket ships. And I thought, and it was clear to me just watching him from a distance before he even leaned into President Trump, that he was a real patriot at his core, that he cared less about owning islands and having 17 jets. And not that there's anything wrong with any of that. And we have a lot of friends who have all of that, but that maybe he could too see that with the country at stake, with what he has been blessed with in terms of resources, that just a small fraction of those resources could be used to counter the left. And listen, we don't need to have the same amount of money they have to win. We proved that this election, right? But we have to be able to compete in a way that allows us to build that long-term plan, get the right people in office, and never give up. And I think that's the game changer that he is. So you were very astute, Benny Johnson, to actually have noticed that, recognized it, and realized it for what it was, which I believe is a moment where potentially everything changes for our movement.
Yes. Getting Elon Musk to understand the great cultural crisis that we are in, certainly saved Western civilization this election cycle.
Right.
Having individuals like yours and America First Policy Group reaching out and saying, here, like vision casting, in realistic ways to get this done and to save this great nation, like that is what did it. I mean, that's what actually activates. And it was remarkable to watch the pure accumulation of important, powerful people at Mar-a-Lago this weekend. However, only one of them danced the YMCA live and was a world leader from Argentina who decided to do the Trump dance in front of hundreds of people filming him. This is Javier Milei, who graced your organization with a great speech and some great moves. This has now gone international.
Yes. There were so many epic moments. That was definitely top 5. But what I loved most of all, first of all, President Milei is a game changer. And I think that what President Trump has inspired is that no matter if you're an economist or a professor or a businessman or a stay-at-home mom, that's what we're called to do, is to come together to save a country. I mean, this is our founding fathers' vision. George Washington was a businessman. James Madison was a student. Thomas Jefferson was a teacher. And yet in that moment, they had their miracle, right? And in that moment, they came together. Well, now we're on the world stage. And I think that President Milei and other key leaders around the country and the people are waking up and electing these leaders, that this is an arm-in-arm sort of effort. And while America is the linchpin, we are where self-governance and freedom has proven itself for 250 years, hopefully 250 more so going forward, but that we've got some amazing partners out there to help us do that and to spread the message of freedom literally around the world. And I think that's a lot of what that meant. President Milei is a really great man, and he's really funny. And I didn't know this either, but the joy, if I may, I'm like the joy of that night, that moment, the movement, all of it. I think our side has long been cast as kind of the glum, grumpy ones who don't like certain categories of people. And the left has defined us as that. And I believe what this election has proven is that that's not true. There is so much joy in fighting for your country and knowing that God is on your side and knowing that what you're working toward is scripturally based. And in so doing, you create a movement that others want to be a part of. Listen, my kids, I've got a bunch of kids. A handful of my kids were with me, teenagers, at Mar-a-Lago. They love President Trump. Elon Musk is super cool. Vivek Ramaswamy, they think is amazing. Javier Milei, they sort of know who he is. But when Antonio Brown is live tweeting right next to them, and my 14-year-old got to be on his live tweet, and I don't necessarily suggest she follow everything he says because a little bit's off color, but think about the cultural moment, right? For our youth, for our minority communities, for our athlete communities, it's incredible. It really is remarkable.
Anything that from behind the scenes that that didn't get caught on camera? That, I mean, because you were just like the center of the world, right?
You know what? There was so much. It was almost so many incredible people in the room where everywhere you would look, oh, there's Bobby Kennedy. Oh, there's Michael Harris, the founder of Death Row Records. Oh, there's a bunch of MLB players, professional baseball players that want to save the country. Oh, there's Dania, who was an Olympic shooter, who is incredible and so beautiful. And that is one of the big efforts with what I have tried to build, is bringing in those iconic figures within each of those different communities. And I think our side has gotten a rap and justified that we've often, until the last few years, maybe the last 8 years with Trump, that we've been a very monolithic in our messaging, right? Oh, everyone should want lower taxes. And oh my goodness, we need to build the wall. But it's not true. Our policy is right for everyone, but who the messenger is and how we message it and how hard we work. I mean, we were working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for 4 years leading up to last Tuesday. And the day after last Tuesday, or I guess almost 2 Tuesdays ago, we started mapping out the 36 governors races in 2 years, how to keep the United States Senate. If we move our policy into every corner of our country, we can't be defeated. And so the moments were like that. I saw the mosaic of the full movement that night in that ballroom. I saw the Elon Musk, who is the next George Soros, much better looking, a lot more rich, and a lot more dedicated to the righteous cause of freedom. So that's huge. And then so many iconic figures like Antonio Brown that can help us get into the culture, which is how we ultimately, I think, get the country back.
Yes, that's exactly right. I don't think, I think it's totally understated what happened with Elon Musk and what's happening currently with Elon Musk as he's advising. He knows how to run a business, man. The American government's the biggest business in the world. There's no business that spends as much or is worth as much as the U.S. federal government. And so why wouldn't you want, look at this. This is Antonio Brown putting in, Trump's like, get your hair out of my hair. It's like the uniting of the two hairlines.
I was right there when that happened. And again, you can't make this up, right? I mean, there's Antonio Brown with the big papa on his fingers and the AB, and he's live tweeting everything. This is a great story, Benny. So I really wanted to invite some of the people like Antonio that may not normally get invited because he's in a different world than us. But he'd been, I think, such an important piece. So we invited him, had a beautiful letter, dear Mr. Brown, on behalf of Linda, Larry Kudlow, and myself, and the entire America First movement, we're celebrating. If you'd like to attend, here's the number of our incredible events person, Chase Forrester. Well, we should have been a little more intentional because he posted it on his Instagram story. And my poor events person literally had 1,000 phone calls in 26 minutes wanting, all the people who follow Antonio said, well, we want to go to Mar-a-Lago. So Chase had to change her number. I think her phone literally melted down.
Oh, no.
But I love it. I mean, this is what we're building. It is happy and it is joyful and it is alive and it's going to save the country.
We're going to do a collection at church so that Vivek, who's on hard times right now, can get an extra button. We know that Vivek, we know that he's just one button away from getting his tuxedo shirt pinned up. And he
needs the help, by the way.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Maybe he could reach into the Doge coffers, Elon's partner there. We don't know, but he looks like he's hurting. And so, again, we just want to say thank you for letting us know this, that Vivek's on tough times.
Oh, that's amazing. Isn't it? But seriously, how great is Vivek Ramaswamy? Right. I called him. He was with us Tuesday night earlier, and he went home to Ohio. And then I kind of reached out to him again Wednesday night, Thursday morning. I said, Vivek, this is going to be epic. You have been such a massive part of the youth vote and bringing a fresh new articulation of our ideas to a whole new group of people. And I can't imagine tonight happening without you. And God bless him. He jumped on. Now it's helpful when you've got your own mode of transport, right? But he jumped on his plane and came down. And I think he's a game changer too. And he and Elon together, this is it. This is our once in maybe a 250-year opportunity to really, really take the country back.
Yes, yes. And you know what? You're grabbing that opportunity. Your organization is vision casting, which is so important in these meetings and for people to like to sink into like, what does that vision actually look like? Yeah. What is the future look like? You have to be able to do that. Brooke Rollins, your group is incredible. Where can people find your work? Where can people support what you're doing? We're going to toss up your X right now.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, A1, the number one policy.com is our think tank, our policy organization in the dust of January 6th and a taken election, had 9 former cabinet members jump in on board, 50 former White House senior officials. The idea was to keep that team to prepare for the next America First White House. Then our C4, America First Works, led by the amazing Lee Zeldin, who's going into the administration. We're so excited. And Ashley Hayek, that's at America First Works, spelled out, americafirstworks.com. That's our political operation. That's what really worked on Black, Hispanic, Jewish voters in the swing states over the last few years. So we would love any and all. Listen, we're building an army that we believe will forever help to save America. And that businessman coming down that golden escalator 9+ years ago now changed everything forever. And now it's up to all of us to make sure we've got the infrastructure to keep the movement moving forward.
There it is, baby. AFPI, America First, always. Whew, do we ever agree with that? Thank you so much. Congratulations on such an epic run. And thank you. We say thank you personally for all the content that you provided for the internet. The memeable moments we deeply appreciate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
hey, Benny, I'm going to make sure you're on that list next time. You got to be in the room with us.
Well, again, I'm going to count my buttons, okay, to see if I have enough. And then I'm going to see if I can get some giant bling, a giant papa to have on my.
Get some braids. We need some braids on top.
I don't think I'd look great in dreads. I can barely grow a beard. Thank you, Brooks. This was amazing, and you've done such remarkable work. We're saving the country together. Godspeed.
Amen. God bless you. Thank you.